Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. This is a long-term investment based on trust. You just heard the title, and pretty much that's what this truth is. It's a long-term investment, and pretty much the benefit of it will come at the end, when we can cash it in. And this is why sometimes we say that there's a lot of Israelites out there that don't know what they're involved in, because they expect as soon as they come into the truth, to this truth, to benefit right away, to be able to be raised above, everyone else out here as far as benefits are concerned, kickbacks and all of that. And pretty much what does happen though is, you have a lot of, ups and downs, a lot of trials, tribulations that are part of the, sifting ground, for the men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. The sisters are in there also, but the most important are the men, because they are the ones that are being built up to be teachers and the future leaders. And most don't understand that because they don't understand the truth. Now, the inspiration for this video comes from a video I was watching a little while ago. The Elder Damashapat, now more than ever. And he was going in on a video that the Elder Itazawan from the Wisconsin camp was doing. And as I was listening to him, the wheels were turning, and pretty much, it's just led into this direction that this is pretty much like a trust. When someone sets up a trust for you, for the most part, a trust is something that you would get the benefit from in the long run in most cases. Now you can, depending on the necessity, you can dip into it depending on the clauses that are written within the contract, but for the most part, the most beneficial part of it would be the very end of that trust, whether it is a 5-year trust, 10-year trust, 20 years, 30 years, lifetime, it all depends. So that's what we're going to build this lesson around, because you have to remember this truth is money. The words that are written in this book are money, and these words that are written in this book is what's going to save our life when that day comes, the day of destruction comes, the day of calamity, the day of Jacob's trouble comes. The words that are in this book and what we do with these words is what's going to determine, if we're part of the elect, of course, our salvation. Now, I typed in when can you cash in a trust, just to, get like something to work with here. It says, what happens when you inherit money from a trust? In either case, inheriting money held in trust means you will not receive an outright distribution of your inheritance to manage and spend yourself, right? Because you can't, when somebody puts a trust in for you, that's for you, but for a later date, right? Instead, you will have some right to use trust funds for specific purposes. In this situation, the criteria for distribution will be laid out in the trust document. Now, in our case, as far as this truth is concerned, what is the trust document? Well, the scriptures. Now before we go into the next one, I want to hit this point right here. This is the book of Ephesians 1:14. Matter of fact, I started at 13. In whom you also trusted, meaning trusted in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, after that you heard the word of truth. So this is the point, right? It says the gospel of your salvation. And this is the thing, gospel of our salvation. When do we become saved? At the very end. That's why it says we are saved by hope. And that's why Yahweh Shai said, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. So there's a lot of criteria that comes along with this truth. In whom also after that you believed, you were sealed with that Holy Spirit of promise, which is the earnest of our inheritance. So with every inheritance there is a will, and until that will is not fulfilled, whatever date it is, usually you have a will, you have somebody that writes it, and then eventually once that person is dead, then you eventually get it. So Yahweh Shai, what is the one that made the will of force by his death 2,000 years ago. So it says, which is the earnest of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession. So this earnest, right, is the money, right, that the Lord gave to us until the redemption of the purchased possession. Because at the end, Yahweh Shai is coming back to redeem his elect, which is that purchased possession, to whom this money was given to, unto the praise of his glory. Now, when we look up the word earnest, right, the word earnest goes back to the word arabon, right, arabon, which means an earnest money, which in purchases is given as a pledge or down payment, that the full amount will subsequently be paid. You see, so it's like an advance. And what do you do with that advance? We're supposed to trade it, which we're going to get into some precepts dealing with that. We're supposed to trade this advance out there. And what we're doing is investing it by trading it, by going out there and teaching. And then there's going to be a kickback that comes with it, and that would represent the fruit, and then the fruit comes in the form of, other brothers out there that are listening and waking up, learning, but also the things that you do in this truth to push out the word, to gain more, and the more you do, the more you gain. See, this is an investment that keeps giving, but it's not given to the individual the way they would think. They think, well, if I invest all this time, I should get, something back from it. Yeah, you are getting something back from it. You are getting the protection from the heavens, the constant feeding from the heavens, a constant inspiration, constantly do these videos, to constantly exhort, reprove, rebuke, the constantly build brothers up, the few sisters that still watch, and this is what this truth is about. So it's money that's given to us as a down payment, all right, and we have to pay that money back. Hey, Esau, right, when you get into the music business, just for an example, they'll give you an advance. But that advance is not something that, here's some money for you, you can have it. No, you got to pay that money back. And how do we pay this money back? By going out there and teaching this word. And Lord's will, as we progress more into this lesson, it'll be edifying. So now I also typed in long-term investment, because the name of the lesson is, this is a long-term investment based on trust. Right, so long-term investments are assets that an individual or company intend to hold for a period of more than 3 years. Now, this is the definition for Esau, right? But our, period of holding on to these assets is for the long term, right? Instruments facilitating long-term investment include stocks, real estate, cash, etc. Long-term investors take on a substantial degree of risk in pursuit of higher returns, and this is what we do. We're suffering a substantial degree of risk in pursuit of higher returns. That's why Yahweh Shai said, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So most Jakes, they're not looking at the benefits of being protected from the things to come, the calamities to come, being in jams and being delivered from them. These are all part of the benefits that you get from investing into this trust or into this long-term investment. All right. Now, when we jump down here, is long-term investing the best? Generally, the longer you hold an investment, the more potential there is to see positive returns. Now, keep in mind, these are Esau's terms, but when you look at it spiritually in the truth, it is the longer you hold on, the more potential it is to see positive returns. Because if you give up, what happens? Destruction follows. Madness follows. Devastation. Right? It says automatically reinvesting the dividends that some stocks pay lets you increase your holdings and possibly compound any growth in stock prices. All right, so just wanted to use that as a, as a, guess for lack of better words, a jump off, into this. All right, so remember the trust. When we go to the trust, it says you will have some right to use trust funds for specific purposes. In this situation, the criteria for distribution will be laid out in the trust document, which we have the scriptures for, and we know that we were given the earnest of our inheritance, which is the money that was given to us as an advance to, trade out in the open stock market. So when we go to Matthew 6:19, it says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth." Now, what are the treasures upon earth? These are talking about carnal riches, which is the thought pattern of many individuals out there. Now, do we need money? Yeah, the scriptures say money is a defense. Money answereth all things. But money isn't everything, because riches can get lost. But at the end of the day, the spiritual riches do not go away. It says thesaurus, the place in which good and precious things are collected and laid up. Right, you have a place where you put your valuables at. A bank account, which that's you're supposed to be storing your goods there. You could have a safe in your crib that you put your money in. A casket, coffer, or other receptacle in which valuables are kept. A treasury, storehouse, repository, magazine, the things laid up in a treasury, collected treasures, right? So Yahweh Shai is saying, lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, right? Because those particular carnal riches can be stolen, can be lost. You come across some, you have a certain amount of riches that you have, and then something happens to where you got to spend it, or something happens if somebody takes your shit, robs you, or break into your home, or whatever the case may be. But then he says, but lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, because the treasures in heaven, when you lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, what you're doing is you're opening up that spiritual bank account, and that spiritual bank account no one can take from you. This bank account, this spiritual bank account, is between you and Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Nobody else. And you put into it, and you get out of it what you put into it, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves will not break through nor steal. Right. It says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Right. So if your treasure is in carnal things, then guess what? Your whole mindset and your talk is going to be about these carnal things. But if your mindset and your treasures are into the truth, that's where your talk is going to be. Your mind is going to be. This is why it says, commend not a man for his beauty, or something along those lines. But pretty much wait to see what comes out of his mouth, because what comes out of his mouth is what determines what type of lifestyle or what type of person he is, or she is, depending on what comes out of their mouth. Right, so it says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thy eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? Right, so the light represents the truth. The darkness represents, being out there in the world without the truth. All right, so if you are spiritually minded, if you are storing for yourself treasures in heaven, then your eye is going to be single. But if you are storing for yourself treasures on earth, then your eye is going to be evil. And guess what? You're going to be in darkness. Just like these jakes out in the world are in darkness when it comes to the truth. It says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve the Most High and Mammon. Why? Because both take up time. Both require, your time. So if you serve the Lord, you're gonna most of the majority of your time is gonna be spent on doing things for the Lord. But if you serve Mammon, the majority of your time, which Mammon just means money, is another way of saying money. If you serve Mammon, guess what? You're gonna be a slave to the Mammon, and you're gonna be doing everything you can to make that money. Therefore, you're not gonna get no sleep. Because you're gonna be chained, so to speak, to chasing this money. I believe it was that devil Steve Harvey, I think it was, where he was speaking to somebody and he was saying like, look, if you can't sleep 8 hours a week and become famous or something along those lines, so you might have to sleep 2, 3, 4 hours, to be able to pursue your dream to get these riches. So if you chasing the carnal riches, guess what? You ain't going to have time for the Lord. And if you're chasing after the Lord, you ain't going to have time for the money. You're going to do what you got to do to work to be able to pay your bills, but you're not going to be able to invest in a long-term investment in the world if you are serving the Lord. You see? So let's jump down from there. This is all good, but let's jump to the 33rd verse. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, which comes with what? With this truth, because this truth is the kingdom of heaven. This is why the Pharisees were demanding of him when the kingdom of heaven was coming. He said it doesn't come with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. It starts with this knowledge. It says, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Right. This is why the Apostle Peter said, look, Lord, we gave up everything, man. What are we going to get? What are we going to get for giving up everything? He said, well, you gave everything up. You're going to get everything back 100-fold. You see? Now, let's move on. Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. This is the ultimate goal, salvation. This is why we do the things that we do through the Spirit and the inspirations of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua through his Holy Spirit to receive that salvation. And in the midst of that, there are a lot of benefits that come with it that most jakes don't see because they're looking for carnal shit. When you get delivered out of an accident, or you get delivered out of a certain situation, or you get redirected or rerouted somewhere else because there's danger coming in another area. These are all part of those investments that you put in, that you're actually taking out of your account in the heavens. But Jake don't look at that because they're looking at carnal things. What can they get for carnal things as far as that's concerned? So let's go from there. Let's go to Luke 19. And I love this. This is a beautiful chapter. Parable of what? Money usage. And you got to check this out. Luke 19:11. And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable because he was nigh to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of the Most High should immediately appear. And this is the whole sentiment from the beginning of time. When is the kingdom of heaven going to be established? Right? So they thought that since Yahushua was on the scene, that immediately the kingdom of heaven would show up. He said, therefore, a certain nobleman, which is Yahushua, went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom, and that's where he went. Yahushua is in the heavens. 2,000 years ago, he went up into the heavens and received this kingdom. He knows what the kingdom looks like. It's his. But the thing is, we don't see, that turnover, so to speak, in these times. Should I say, we don't see it played out on the earth. We see it in the spirit. We know that it's so, but the earth, the people in the earth, are not giving the reverence to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. So therefore, it's not manifest to everyone as it will be. That's why I said every knee shall bow. And Yahushua comes back. Hebrews 2:8. Thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him, right? Because you still have people praising Buddha, praising different deities, different gods, worshiping money, worshiping women, worshiping other men, so on and so forth. So we don't see everything put under him, but we see it, as far as him already having the glory. But the world don't see that. But that's what he's coming back to establish. All right. So going back to Luke 19, he said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants, because this truth, when you receive this truth, you become a servant. So we are servants. We are ministers. And delivered them 10 pounds, which is what? Money. 10 pounds, meaning he gave each individual a certain amount of money, as far as his truth is concerned, to go out there and trade. And said unto them, occupy till I come. So when we look up this word occupy, right? The word there is pragmatu omahi, which is where you get the word pragmatic from, right? It says to be occupied in anything, to carry on a business, to carry on the business of a banker or a trader, right? Because Yahweh Shai is the banker, and he gave us an advance while he's on his journey. And then that advance that he gave us, he wants a return on it when he comes back. No, this is not something that you just get and you just sit on your own. This money requires, you got to put in work. Go out there on the streets, teach the word, feed the flock. You love me, feed my sheep, feed my flock, feed my lambs, occupy till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent message after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. Now, are they saying that physically, like with their mouth? No. They're saying it because they're not accepting the truth. Here it is, we're telling them that the king is about to be coronated, and they're not accepting the invitation. They're not coming to the marriage supper of the Lamb. They're like, the hell with you, man. We got somebody else as a king. And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, right, because he went up to the heavens and received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Now, I just looked up this word money earlier, and I was like, wow, that's heavy. We go to this word money, you have the word argurion. Argurion goes back to the word, agora. Well, really silver. Arguros, which is silver. Argos, shining, right? But then, I thought about the word agora. Agora, because, you have the word arguros or argurion, which goes back like the word Argentina. Argentina means silver. It goes back to the word argent, which means silver. So I thought about, the agora, because when you went to the agora was you either were arguing a point, debating a point, or you were either buying or selling out there in the public, because that's where the trading goes on, out in the public. So when we go out, even though we do sit down lessons, the main point or the main platform that we use to teach this word is out on the streets. All right. And then just so happens that the Lord gave these devils the technology of the internet, the web and all that, and these different platforms, social media platforms, to push the truth, but the main concourse, or the main, weight, for lack of better words, of this truth is when we go out there on the streets and teach and trade, because that's how you would trade. You would trade out in public. So it says silver money, a silver coin, silver piece, a shekel. And you know what's heavy? That when you go to in the New Testament, the word for money is argurion, which is silver. When you go to the Old Testament, the word for money is kasap, which is silver. So both in the Old and the New Testament, the word for money in the English, in the Hebrew, or the Greek is the word silver. Now you have silver, you have gold, and you have different other, commodities and resources that are money, but for the most part, when the scriptures speak about money, it always refers to the word silver. All right. So let's go back. Luke 19:15, and it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. See, and that's the point. Trading. You don't trade if you find the Lord has you come into the truth, and you just go ahead and got the truth, but you're not teaching it, you're not sharing it, you're not exalting it. Now, I put this video in the description box. I watched about 20 minutes of it so far. I don't know why it's all the way over here, but I watched about 20 minutes of it so far. Lord's will, I can go back and finish it. Very good video, you know. So let's go back. Let's look up this word trading. How do you trade? The word there, long one, damn. Diapragmatuyo omahi. Wow. Which goes back to the word pragmatic. See? Dia, then you got the word pragmat. See? Occupy. See? Pragmatu omahi. So how do you occupy in this trade? Well, by taking the money, which is the word, and going out there and teaching it. You know, investing time, you know, because when these investors get money, right, from their investors, you know, or these individuals that trade, when they get the money from their investors, they don't just put their money on anything. They research, they look stuff up, you know, they find the best investment to where they can get the most gain from. And that's what brothers do. When brothers learn, they research, they find different information, certain nuggets, certain treasures, and then they go, they set up their little lessons, and then boom, they share it with the flock to feed the flock. So that means thoroughly, earnestly to undertake a business. As we read earlier, the earnest of the spirit, which is this money, this truth. To undertake a business for sake of gain. See, nobody opens up a business just to open it up and spend money. When somebody invests capital into a business, they expect a kickback. And they're going to invest in the most, in the thing that will benefit them the most. That's why Yahushua said, where your heart is, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So if your mind is focused on carnal riches, guess what? You ain't going to have time for the Lord. You see? But if your mind is focused on the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, then whatever necessities you do have, the Lord will provide for you. Whenever you're in a jam, whenever you're you know, in whatever case you may be, life or death situation, the Lord will deliver you out of that. These are all part of the investments, you know, where you can take, you know, you can dip into the account, so to speak, as it says here, for when can you cash in a trust. In either case, inheriting money held in a trust means you will not receive an outright distribution of your inheritance to manage and spend yourself, right? Because we can't just go in and just take it. You know, we can't take the kingdom. We just got to wait, even though the saints shall take the kingdom, but we still have to wait. Instead, you will have some right to use trust funds for specific purposes, right? In the case of, you know, you in a jam, the Lord will make a provision for you to be taken care of. In this situation, the criteria for distributions will be laid out in the trust document, which this is the trust document. All right. So this is to undertake a business for the sake of gain. Right. So he came back and he inquired what these servants did with the money he gave them to invest, to see what, you know, what they did. Because when you have an investor, you know, he gives the money to certain individuals, you know, to see what they do. And the ones that invest the most, guess what? He gives them more. The ones that lose, he don't really give them anything. But the ones that gain, especially the ones that are good earners, he gives them more. He gives them more money so that they can continue to invest more. It says, then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. Right, so he put up, you know, with 1 pound, he gained 9 more pounds. So this is a good servant. This is a good earner. And he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in the very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds. Now this one, he didn't gain as much as the first one, but he still gained. All right. And he said likewise to him, be thou also over 5 cities. So he would give both of these individuals more money to invest, because he know that they're good earners, that they're going to go out there and do what they're supposed to do. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in an act. And this is an individual that received this money, the truth, and didn't do nothing with it. You know, he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to go out there and teach, man. That's too, you know, we don't got to go out in the streets no more. You know, show me in the scripture where it says you got to go out, and on the internet, put your the truth out on the internet. These are guys that are short-sighted. You know, matter of fact, let's type in short-sighted. Let's see what that means. Let's see what it says. Short-sighted, unable to see things clearly unless they are relatively close to the eyes. Lacking imagination or foresight. Woo! You know, lacking imagination or foresight. So in other words, you don't see in the long term. You don't see the vision. You ain't got no vision, Willie. You got to have vision. Salaka, inside joke. All right, so going back, Luke 19:20, and another came saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Yeah, those individual, you napkin holders. You know, you individuals that's taking the Lord's jewels and putting them in napkins, taking his money and putting it in a napkin. Here it is, you have all this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, but you ain't doing nothing with it. You know? Thou knewest that I was an austere man, meaning a serious, hard man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that it might come and I might have required mine own with usury, right? With interest. Let's look up a couple of these words. Let's look up the word bank. Bank is the word trapeza. Trapeza. I don't know if it goes into that trapezoid. A table on which food is placed, an eating place, the table in the temple of Jerusalem on which the consecrated loaves were placed, equivalent to the food placed upon the table, to set a table, put food before one, a banquet feast, the table or stand of a money changer, where he sits, exchanging different kinds of money for a fee, agio, and paying back with interest loans on deposit. See? So the Lord wants to know, where did you invest my money, and where the hell is my kickback? All right? Like my man used to say on 34th Street, priest. I tell him that Bible put food on your table. Inside joke. All right, so that's the kickback. So that's the bank. And where's the bank located? In the heavens. That's why it says, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth nor rust doth corrupt, or where thieves will not break through and steal. Now let's go to the word usury. Usury pretty much is interest. The Greek word is tokos, birth, the act of bringing forth that which has been brought forth, offspring, right? In that case, interest of money, usury, because it multiplies money and as it were breeds, right? So when you invest this money, what are you doing? You're actually causing the money to breed. So that money, when you breed it, then it increases, it multiplies. All right? Because this word is a seed. You have to remember that. This word is a seed. Let's go to Luke 8 and 17. 11. Now the parable is this. The seed is the word of the Most High. And what happens when you plant a seed? It grows. It's nourished. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 3 and 5. Who then is Paul, or who is Apollos, but ministers by whom you believed, even as the Lord gave to every man. Gave to every man what? The earnest of the Spirit, this money. I have planted what? The seed of the Most High, the word of the Most High. Apollos watered. So how did Apollos water? By once the seed was planted, he goes back and goes into reassuring, watering the seed that was planted by the constant teaching of the word. It says, but the Most High gave the increase. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai gave the increase. All right. So going back, so that's the usury, the money gained from capital invested. All right. In this case, the money is the truth. The gain is what? Other fruit, and the different things that you do that are stored in the heavens. It says, and he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound, meaning the unfaithful servant, and give it to him that have 10 pounds. Why? Because the one that had 10 pounds was the best earner. So since this guy ain't doing nothing with it, take it from him and give it to my best earner. You see? So you don't want to be that napkin brother. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the best earner or earner in general. All right, and they said unto him, Lord, he hath 10 pounds. For I say unto you that unto everyone which hath shall be given, and from him that hath not, even that he hath shall be taken away from him. And there's another scripture that says that what he seems to have shall be taken away from him. But those my enemies, which were not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. So now, who are these talking about? These are the lazy Judas blood goats. That sit on the sideline that don't do shit. They can tell you everything that's wrong with you, and they can tell you everything that you're supposed to do, but they don't go out there and do the work. Like Yahweh cursed them wicked Pharisees in them out. You lay heavy burdens on men, but you yourself won't go out there and lift it with one finger. So the Lord's going to get these napkin dudes. The Lord's going to get these lazy, no good, unprofitable, false prophets out here. All right? Now let's go here to Romans. So because the part of the investment of the money, when you receive it, it's going out there on the streets. This is Romans chapter 12 and 1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice. And how do we do that? By going out in the streets, sacrificing our time. Brothers have lost a lot in this truth, for teaching the word. Because you got to remember, this is a relationship. And in relationships, you need time. This is why the Apostle Paul said, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. 1 Corinthians 7. This is a relationship. Relationships require time. If you don't have time to nourish your relationship, what happens? The relationship breaks apart. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, let's read it. 1 Corinthians 7:29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. Why? Because you're not going to have the time to enjoy, your woman or your children the way that you would like to. Because this truth that we're in is very demanding. And most women, the majority of women out here, don't have the same level of faith that a man has. Therefore, they don't see the long-term, benefit of the truth. It says, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. Yeah. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. See? But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. Right? Because this is a relationship. If you have a woman, you have to spend time with her. There's things you do with your woman. But if you don't have a woman, then your time is freed up to do whatever the Lord wants you to do for him. Now, for those of you brothers that do have women and children, there's nothing wrong with that. You could have them. But that this truth is going to take up the majority of your time. And in that case, there's a lot of men, a lot of brothers in the truth that have lost relationships, that have lost jobs, that lost a lot of different things because of the truth. But guess what? That's part of the sacrifice. That's part of the investment. That's why the Apostle Peter said, what? We have given up everything. Some gave up their livelihood, gave up everything for this truth, because they say, what? This is it right here. I'm investing everything I have in this. There's no plan B. This is it. And guess what? They lost everything. But guess what? they in the spirit they gained everything. Because when the time of Jacob's trouble comes, the Lord said he's not unrighteous to forget our deeds in love. So he's going to protect the ones that sacrifice for him. The ones that didn't see him physically on the earth, him and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but believed and were moved to sacrifice these things for him. All right. So going back to Romans 11 and 12, Romans 12 and 1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. And this is our reasonable service. Let's look up this word, reasonable service. Let's see what it says. It's two words. Reasonable is logikos, which goes back to logos, which is word. I believe it also goes back to logic. Pertaining to speech or speaking. Yeah, pertaining to the reason or logic, right. This is our reasonable service. So this is how you understand. When you understand things, it's easier for you to deal with them. It's easier for you to mentally process them. But when you don't understand, you become uncomfortable, and all you want is that uncomfortability to leave, because you don't see the benefit from that uncomfortability. Spiritual, pertaining to the soul, agreeable to reason, following reason, reasonable, logical. All right. So that's your reasonable service. The service is latreia, which is where you get the word worship, or where you get the word worship with religion. Service rendered for hire. Any service or ministration, the service of the Most High. The service and worship of the Most High according to the requirements of the Levitical law. And service to the Lord comes with requirements. And those requirements, eventually come with a what? With a kickback, because there's a payment for it. This is why the Apostle Peter said, look, man, we gave up everything. What we going to get in return? Nobody goes out there and sacrifice their time just for no reason. Sacrifice, everything for no reason. There's got to be a kickback, and there is. So it says, and be not conformed to this world, because most will be conformed to the world. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, because it begins in the mind. Once you change the way you think, then you're able to process the truth easier, and be able to understand and be able to deal with situations. And then that relationship that you build with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will get you through tough situations, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High, which the perfect will of the Most High is what? To go out here and teach the word. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 1. Because this is what we're doing is foolish, but this is the requirements that the Lord gave. This is the requirements that are written within the instruction book. All right? As we read here, in what happens when you inherit money from a trust, it says, in this situation, the criteria for distribution will be laid out in the trust, right? Document. The trust document is what? The contract. Where we at? 1 Corinthians 1. And 21. For after that, in the wisdom of the Most High, the world by wisdom knew not the Most High, right? Because we were going out there. We thought, our thought pattern of the Lord was totally different from what we know today. It pleased the Most High by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe, right? So it's foolish what we're doing out there. But this is the requirement. This is what the contract says for us to do, to go out there. So the ones that do believe will be received, and delivered by the foolishness of preaching. This is something, man. And finally, Isaiah 55:1, Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that hath no money, come ye, buy and eat. This is dealing with this knowledge, this truth. Yea, come, buy wine and milk without money and without price, right? Because the money and and the price that it takes to buy this is what? Your time, our time. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, right? Because Here it is. You have Jake out there investing time into either a career or into a religion that is not true bread, that is not nourishing to the spirit. And your labor for that which does not satisfy not. Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness, right? Because the food is given to you as a nourishment. So this spiritual food is given to us as a nourishment to constantly nourish us and keep us, sound. As the scripture speaks about, sound doctrine. Let's get that. And this word, which is a healing medicine, pretty much is what keeps us sound. 1 Timothy 1:10. For whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. When we look up the word sound, right, the word is hugiaino, which is where you get the word hygiene from. To be sound, to be well, to be in good health, metaphorically of Christians or Mahamashiachim, whose opinions are free from any mixture of error, see? Of one who keeps the graces and is strong. So to the true doctrine, to be uncorrupt, not gimmicks, not filled with gimmicks to gather, this truth is not about coming up with gimmicks just to gather a bunch of followers so you can get paid. This truth is about gathering the elect, which are a very small number in comparison to the rest of Israel. You see? And you have a lot of profiteers out there. They're not prophets, they're profiteers that are coming up with all kind of gimmicks just so that they can get paid, so they can live a better life. The Lord sees though. It says, Isaiah 55:3, incline your ear and come unto me, hear, and your soul shall live. This is the payoff. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David, because he promised. Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people, a leader and a commander to the people. And King David will literally be on earth, reigning under Yahushua. Behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, which are the Israelite foreigners, and nations that knew not thee shall run unto thee, because the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua thy power, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he hath glorified thee. And eventually, once the kingdom is established, even the nations are going to come to learn of this truth. But they will always be servants. Esau, after he serves his 1,000 years of captivity, he will be utterly abolished by fire. All right? So this is a long-term investment based on trust. All right? This truth that we have is money that was given to us, the men to go out here and teach. That's our reasonable service. That's how we trade. Take the money that the Lord gave us and trade it out there, so that when he comes back, he can receive his with usury, with interest. All right, so with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.